Black Critic Guy, back again with a new review, and I couldn't have picked a better series to be my comeback review than Breaking Bad. And no, this is not a ball cap. Shaved it all off, baby. So the story of Breaking Bad, without giving any spoilers away, is a story about Walter White, who was a high school chemistry teacher who got diagnosed with inoperable lung cancer. And after hearing this horrendous news, he starts to think, how will his family be financially secure with a 17-year-old that's about to go to college, a baby on the way, and he now has cancer? So you're gonna throw on those medical bills and then paying for the, oh my god, they're gonna be up shit's creek forever. But he gets an idea of how to make his family financially secure after going on a drug bust with his brother-in-law, Hank Schrader. And while at that drug bust, he sees Jesse Pinkman, a former student of his, and he finds out that Jesse is now a meth dealer. So he approaches him with the idea of becoming his new cook, and together they will make and sell meth. And a series of ups and downs, turmoil, chaos, destruction, and overall awesomeness ensues. Now, everybody knows about Breaking Bad. Whether you watch the show or not, you know of Breaking Bad. Hell, people can't shut the fuck up about it for 5 seconds. And that's all I ever heard for months upon months. Hey, yo, this show, Breaking Bad, is the greatest show ever. So I finally came around to watching the show, and I gotta tell you guys, it is one of the greatest shows I've ever seen, with one of the most satisfying conclusions I've ever seen. Now, it kind of sucks to review this show this late because everybody knows how great the writing is, how solid the acting is, how great the direction is, and how the editing is really, really good. It feels like I'm beating a dead horse, but the thing is, they're true. The writing is really good with great character development, great acting on everybody. Everybody. I have not seen a weak performance in this show. Even the kids. The kids did really good. The direction in every episode had its own style. I love some of the POV shots. I love some of the angles that they took. And the music too. If there's one element to the show that I felt like was really underappreciated, it was the music. Because the music is just as good as the previous things I just mentioned. And they match the scenes perfectly. So let's talk about some of the characters. Starting off with the main character himself, Walter White. This guy, I mean, if there was ever a time I went back and forth with a character, it's Walter White. Because at first, you really like him. You really root for him. You want him to succeed and make sure that his family is financially secure once he dies. But then, he pulls 180s all the time, and it's really hard to gauge whether or not you liked him in the series or you hated him. Now, it has been said that the creator of the show, Vince Gilligan, awesome job by the way, Vince, who was actually a writer on the X-Files, which was pretty interesting, said that he was trying to make Walt a really, really unlikable character. And to his credit, he did a really good job. It's just that by the end of the show, I still sort of liked him. Yes, he did a lot of terrible things. Things I will not mention here because huge spoilers, but he did a lot of bad things. But at the end of the day, all the reasons that he did it honestly for his family, and he did it for his own safety. Walt was all about self-preservation and making sure that his family was secure. Everything else could be thrown to the wayside. And I know many of you may be saying, well, wait a minute, Tony, why are you saying he did it for the family? He clearly did it for himself. I still believed in my heart that although he did love the adrenaline rush and the thrill that he got from doing what he was doing, in the back of his mind, he still really did care about his family. Even by the end of the series, it is shown that he still cared about his family. And Bryan Cranston gives the performance of a lifetime. I've never seen an actor portray a character such as this. I mean, again, going back and forth of a likable to a very menacing and despicable character, I gotta give Bryan Cranston some props there. He pulled it off stunningly, and he deserved every accolade that he got for this performance. What really breaks my heart is I don't really think that he could ever one-up this performance. I can't see another role that Bryan Cranston does after this point that could beat Walter White. Next, we got Jesse Pinkman, played by Aaron Paul, who is basically the rag doll of this entire series because this guy is put through some of the most traumatic shit and has been thrown over and under the bus so many times. I really, at the end of the series, I felt bad for him out of any other character. And if anything, he is one of the most well-developed characters in this entire show. You see him start as a rambunctious kid who didn't know what he was getting himself into to somewhat mature adult, although yes, he was still a bit rambunctious, but he learned from past mistakes and past experience. You saw a growth in this character. And Aaron Paul too does a fantastic job in the role as Jesse Pinkman. And the relationship between Walter White and Jesse Pinkman was dynamic. I mean, at first they hate each other, and sometimes they bond with each other. They have a connection, but then they hate each other. It's kind of like how Walter goes back and forth, being good, being bad, being good. It's the same thing. They go back and forth, which does get a bit irritating in the series, but still, their relationship was very dynamic and very satisfying how it concluded too. Next, we got Skylar, played by Anna Gunn. I really did like her character. Yes, she was a bit annoying, a bit shrill, and kind of got on your nerve, but I thought she also did a fine job. Although if there's one complaint that I do have for the series is that I felt like the women in the show didn't really have much to do besides cry and yell and weep, and I wanted them to do more. But again, that's not a complaint that is due to bad writing. It's just a personal preference. I wanted the women to do more than just crying and wailing. But again, Anna Gunn does a really fantastic job in the role of Skylar White, a woman who's trying to protect her family, but at the same time is thrown into the mix of the meth world because of Walter. The last main character I want to talk about is Hank Schrader. Now, his jokes might not be that funny, but he is one of the most likable and probably one of the only good characters in this show. I mean, not like good performance, but like just morally good. He's a DEA agent on the search for this man known as Heisenberg, who's selling all this blue meth. He's like the kingpin, and he's just on this ride trying to track down who Heisenberg is, unaware that it's actually his brother-in-law. But not only did the show have a strong main cast, but they had even more memorable supporting characters. You can't talk about Breaking Bad without bringing up Gustavo Fring. This guy is one of the most menacingly calm persons I've ever seen on a TV show, because at any moment he could snap. Just like Walter, Gus is very meticulous. He is very careful about what he does, and he is freaking interesting. I really would have loved if they made a standalone series with Gus as the main character, because that character is very interesting, and the guy who played him, I can't pronounce his name, I'll probably put his name down here. He did a fantastic job. Another interesting side character is Mike, who is basically the right-hand man to Gus. I don't want to give too much of him away because I like his development and I liked how it unfolded, so I won't say too much about his character, but he was really cool. And the last interesting side character, of course, you know I was gonna mention him, Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman was the biggest surprise of this show, because at any moment I felt like he could have been the weakest character, like he could have been taken out. But there would be scenes where Saul just impresses me and I'm just like, well played, Saul. Well played. He's charming, he's witty, he's fast-paced. You better call Saul. Okay, we spent too much time talking about characters. Let's get to the writing of the show. What more can I add that has not already been said? The writing is just solid throughout. And you really do need to pay attention, because things that were mentioned in previous episodes, even in previous seasons, will resurface in later seasons and play a crucial part. And one thing that I found very fascinating about the writing, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who felt this way, is how they didn't really focus on the drug aspect of the show, but on the character aspects and the turmoil and the struggle and the conflict that these characters went through. Interesting dialogue scenes, tense moments. That is solid writing at its best. I can't recommend this show enough. I mean, if I were to say the small problems that I had that are more or less nitpicks, as I mentioned earlier, I wish that they gave all the women of Breaking Bad more to do except for crying and yelling. But again, that's just a personal preference. The first few seasons, mainly the first two, were very slow to start off, but it does build up to something. It's not like, you know, they kept the slow pace throughout the entire show. It does pick up. And as my father once told me, it's not how you start, but how you finish. And let me tell you, season 5 of Breaking Bad was one of the most satisfying series finale that I've ever seen. I mean, I had no problems with it whatsoever. I mean, as it kept going, season 5 just got more and more and more and more and more intense. It never let up. It just kept rising and rising and rising and rising and rising. All the elements coming together for one final conclusion that was very, very satisfying. I really had no problem with the ending. I couldn't have pictured a better way to end the series than the last episode. I thought they did a fantastic job. So overall, if you couldn't tell already, I highly recommend checking out Breaking Bad. It has some great writing, great directing, great acting, great characters. Everything about it is just great. I'm just reiterating myself now, but seriously, it's that good. I give it a 5 out of 5. Without a doubt, it is an epic masterpiece worth watching over and over and over again. But anyway, what did you guys think of the show? Did you love it like I did? Or were you part of the few minority who feels like it's overhyped and you don't get why it's so popular? Comment below, let me know. And if you're part of the minority who does not like the show, don't worry, no judgments here. And besides Breaking Bad, let me know what is the best drama you've ever seen on television. Comment below, let me know. So stay tuned guys, I'll be having some anime reviews coming out. I plan to do my live Hell Girl reaction videos this weekend starting Saturday at, I believe, 8 p.m. is when I'm going to start doing it. So 8 p.m. Eastern Central, or Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned for that. Also got some movie reviews coming your way. Carrie, Captain Phillips, and I hope to see Escape Plan as well, and maybe The Fifth Estate. But until then, guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Welcome to the Black Critic Guy. Like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony Watley II from the Black Critic Guy. Till then,